something on social media, take a pause for a few hours and come back to it. Is that still a good idea?
That is a great idea.
Make a video and then don't put it on social media.
Yeah.
Sit on it for a day.
All right, we'll talk to you in a couple of days, Alexis. Take care.
Okay, thanks.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye.
I think that holds true with almost anything. If you're ever in a fit of rage and maybe you're going to fire off an email to your boss or something like that, just write it out, sit on it, come back to it a day later, and if it still holds, then maybe you're right.
Even road rage, I do that.
Even an hour later.
When you're driving and you get mad at someone, now I start thinking, okay, because my daughter's 15.
Yeah, getting ready to get her permit.
I start thinking, what if that person there is just learning to drive?
Yeah.
Well, if that was my kid, would I want somebody, riding their ass
honking and getting crazy on them, yeah.
So just try and take a deep breath. But
I mean,
I think Ty might have
dodged a bullet.
Dodged a bullet on.
Yeah, I mean,
I
some
hate to
people
say that, but
I think she gets her
I
jollies
don't like
with the
saying
drama
that either, but I think that there are some girls who absolutely, and look, it's overall people, but a lot of times it's stereotypically a girl who is she's getting back what she's putting out. She already told us in the first part she likes all these bad guys. She thinks it's more fun, but she is willing. Her risk reward, Eric, her risk reward is that she finds the reward of feeling the high of a bad guy. It's higher than the risk. She's like, okay, I'll do that. I'll take that risk.
She can get hurt. Something could happen.
And maybe that's fun when you're really young and you have the hot, steamy action because of all the drama. But you want somebody you're going to grow old with. You want somebody that when you're sick.
At that age, you're not thinking it. You're not thinking of it.
You're sick and they're holding your hair.
Have fun. These are her stories, man. These are her stories
you're
now.
Thinking
when I was 24, I used to date
guys. Guys been through it all.
Yeah.
But I just,
I would love 23-year-old Ryan to meet this Ryan. And I would love to see him. Hey, Pops, shut up. Old man.
Smack the hell out of that.
What have I turned into?
Whatever.
I'd set him aside and I'd be like, dude, you are going to destroy your life.
Settle down.
You don't want to
Well, I just feel like if from the stories you tell us, Ryan, from the stories you tell us, it sounds like you were not the nicest of people when it came to dating, but now you're you almost forget that. Like you were, and I'm not saying you.
I was. I never misled anybody.
Well, I'm just saying, you have let us know that there have been a lot of ladies in your past, and then sometimes I feel like you forget that you told us those stories because then you're like, oh, I would never do that. We're like, 23-year-old Ryan totally did that.
I think what it is I look back, and I don't want to make this just about me. I think a lot of people do this.
A lot of people can.
You look back, you compartmentalize. I have no connection to that younger version of myself. I look back, and it's like a different person. I'm definitely ashamed of some of the things, but I never did something evil, like manipulated somebody or lied.
Relationship stuff.
Yeah. I just, I made a lot of mistakes.
Look at the texters. Look at the texters that are relating to all of this, because one person said, that girl needs help. I've had a chick like that before and ended up in jail and had to save my life.
That's the kind of girl that's going to pretend she got pregnant. She's going to just cause damage to your life.
Yeah.
I just
want her to maybe talk to somebody. I really need her to talk to somebody, because this is not okay. That people are saying that's not her type; it's her pattern. Like, why is this her pattern?
It is a pattern.
Like, what's going on in her background that this is her pattern? That she likes to. She went to Dallas to quote visit her friend, but it was really legit to stalk him out.
Yeah.
Anyway, just bad all around. And
that's why
you got
therapists love that
answers, and
stuff,
that's how it turns out.
Go and find out why.
And that's why therapy is so important, because everything in this life is cause and effect. You got to figure out what made this person into the person they are today. What are the events that occurred that shaped them to be on this path?
But then what happens once you figure that out, and then you have to work on how to stop that, or just to know it?
Well, I mean, acknowledging it is half the battle.
But you just know it, and then what do you?
Sometimes you don't find a right therapist. I mean, I've had a couple of therapists throughout my life, and there are some, I don't like the ones where they just agree with everything you say or they're validating everything you say. You want somebody that's going to challenge you, make you take a deep examination of yourself.
Or maybe they open up your eyes to something you didn't even realize. Like, I had never heard the phrase family of origin before. Have you heard of this phrase?
That's the family you're born into. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters.
Yeah, family of origin is interesting because maybe her family of origin is her dad was maybe like, quote, a bad guy to her mom. Mm-hmm. And her mom, right. I mean, you deep dive into that stuff.
I think you're spot on.
I think
you're spot on, Roula, because every therapist I've ever went to, they really do like to focus on what was your childhood like.
Because we all got raised screwed up in some way because your parents are just trying to survive and do their best. And even parents right now, you don't know what the heck you're doing. The craziest feeling of having a baby after they give it to you is, oh my God, I have to keep this thing alive now and make it a decent human.
The listener line last night came in and it's a panic button. Maybe we can play it sometime today. She just has a newborn and she's freaking out. She was asking,
why don't we do it next?
Yeah,
we usually do Scoop, brought to you by Innovative Lasers of Houston, and I had some Kids Bop tickets to give away, but let's talk about that because I know we have a full show today. If you have that listener line, maybe we can help her out. If this is maybe her time to listen, you want to do that?
Yeah, we can help her out. I felt bad for her.
Okay. All right. We will do that next because everybody, I mean, especially if you're a new parent, oh, God bless you all. God bless you all. That baby. What am I doing with this? Mm-hmm. They're cute until they're not
Sam.
cute. You know, Santi is like, I'm never going to sleep, ever. And you have to hold me if you want me to stop crying.
The power.
Oh, yeah. I can go into more details. Yesterday, we had an explosive diaper, which was a lot of fun. Thought I was legit going to vomit on my child.
Were you at home at least?
Legit going to vomit. Yes. He was sitting in his car seat, and instead of it going up the back Roula, it decided to go up the front.
Oh, good God.
So,
okay, did you do the onesie trick, though, that blows everyone's mind?
That wasn't the problem. You know where the diaper flaps are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was covered. And then someone thought it'd be fun to put his hands in it.
Oh, God. And then it's all over his face.
Oh, God. No.
Where's the wipies?
No,
you know what I mean? Like they get on their hands and you're like, oh, my God, where do I wipe first? Where do I wipe first?
It was like hands first. It's like, kid.
God.
Yeah.
You're really testing me today. You're really testing me.
And just real quick, I mentioned the onesie trick, and even every time I mention it, there are people who even have grandchildren and still did not know this trick. The reason the onesies have the flaps on the shoulders is so you can roll the onesie down off their bodies when explosive diarrhea happens. So you're like, oh my God. How many poor babies got poop in their hair?
Yep.
Because no one knew.
So true.
Our listener line number is 713-278-VENT. That's 8368. It's where this panic button listener line came in from a new mama. We're going to help her next on the Roula and Ryan Show.
Back to Roula and Ryan. All right, we're going to do a little group therapy. This came in on our listener line, 713-278-VENT. Normally we do Scoop right here, but this is...
Brought to you by Innovative Lasers of Houston. But, Eric mentioned when we were talking about the end of Roula and Ryan's Roses that we got a panic button from a new mom. And I said, well, why don't we talk about it next? But before we do, I told you guys that I had Kids Bop tickets. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give away some Kids Bop tickets to our family friends that love their Kids Bop because Kids Bop is going to be at Smart Financial Center tomorrow. So we've got tickets for the Kids Bop Never Stop Tour right now. If you are caller 15 at 713-390-KRBE, you're on your way to see Kids Bop Never Stop, the tour at Smart Financial tomorrow. Again, caller 15, 713-390-KRBE. That is not the number of the listener line. The listener line number that you should always have in your contacts because you just never know when you want to make a comment or you're going to need it is 713-278-VENT. You can vent about whatever you want, and if you're panicking, you tell us you need immediate assistance.
Yep,
let's hear this call.
She is on her way to having a baby.
I am 36 weeks pregnant, and I know that y'all are all parents on the show, except for Special K, but he's a doggy parent. And I just wanted to see if anyone had any advice for a new mom, first-time mom, new dad, first-time dad, and any tips for surviving these next 4-ish weeks in this heat while pregnant, because it sucks. Just wanted to see if anyone had some first-time parent advice. Thank you. Love you guys.
So, Sam,
wow.
You're the most
I think
recent.
Sam should start first because she has a 5-month-old. Santi's 5 now.
Yes,
What
he's
are
almost
things-
Her
6.
first time.
You're in it right now.
36 weeks, a few months before, and now 5 months after. What would you say some advice?
The biggest thing that I just want to start off by saying is when everybody says, oh, having a baby is so magical. It's amazing, blah, 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 blah. I was like eye rolling. Okay,
Well,
cool.
you had a difficult pregnancy. You weren't happy while you're pregnant.
I know, but still, I was still eye rolling everybody because I was like, okay, you're making it seem like, I don't know. I just felt like everybody was making it seem so incredible. And I was like, whatever. And then it happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sipping that Kool-Aid now. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
you're like,
is
they
the
were
best
right.
thing ever. Like, I love this baby. I don't want
That's so funny.
15 kids, but I was like, this is so cool. So for her going through all of this, I feel like there's other moms that have been messaging me and they're like, how do you go out? Like, you just had a baby and you're taking your baby to point A to point B. Like, isn't it overwhelming? The thing is, it's like you went out before you had a baby and then you just realize you need to keep living your life.
Yeah, but you have another. You can live your life, but you have another life. Like you got to worry about.
You do, but I just feel like
top priority.
Diseases and stuff. You got to worry about things like that.
Well, yes, you have to definitely be careful, but at the same time, you still want to live your life. I don't think you should be so overwhelmed. Like, you're going to handle it. I feel like, and before you have a baby, you're stressing out about the smallest things ever. What if the baby cries in public? What if they have a blowout? What if I didn't bring their toy? What if I don't know when they're hungry?
Adapt.
And that's just it. You start to learn your baby. Like, now if Santiago cries about something, I'm like, okay, it's either three things. He's tired.
Do you know the
hungry,
cries?
He's I've definitely been able to pick up on that, thankfully. And you just start getting like a routine and you understand the baby.
I think one of the things you got to realize,
it makes it easier once you start understanding your baby, and it's not as stressful.
Every baby's different.
Absolutely.
So everybody's journey is different.
Yeah,
and
what works for me may not work for her.
It would drive me nuts when my daughter was a baby and people would tell you, oh, you got to do this, got to do this, got to do that. And it's like, that worked for you, may not work for me.
Yes.
Everybody's got a different kid.
Listen, I'm going to tell her something that is a real hot topic. To the mom that is 36 weeks pregnant and she wants some first-time baby advice for those just tuning in, the thing that really surprises you the most is you may have a plan in your mind about doing something and it totally goes haywire on the side. Mm-hmm. When it comes to how you're going to feed your baby, there is a lot of unwanted and unnecessary noise about whether you should be doing this or should be doing that. I had a very difficult time breastfeeding my kids. I thought I'd be that mom that breastfeeds my kids till they're almost a year old or however long they need to have it for their health and their safety and the natural blah, 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 blah. And it put me in a terrible place, I almost want to cry right now thinking about it, because as a mother, you just want to do the best. And everyone is like on you with this new baby in your life. And you are responsible for keeping that baby healthy, fed, and alive. And you have to also take care of yourself. And when you can't produce, it makes you feel less than. It makes you feel like you're not doing it right and you can't. And somebody will shame you or say something about, well, you're just not relaxing, or you're just not, you need to get the pump. And if you don't pump all day, supply, demand. I am preparing you, mama of 36 weeks pregnancy. You do whatever gives you sanity. When I had to go to those little mini formula bottles to supplement my child, I felt so guilty. Why? She needs to eat. She needs to go to sleep. She needs to be healthy. And it's just the most overwhelming thing that you do not expect to hit you so hard because of the pressure and the stress of how is this baby going to get fed. That's the biggest thing I wanted her to prepare for herself. Just listen to yourself.
Experts, because I remember my wife did the same thing. Like, this lady was such a bully. She'd come to the house. I'm like, lady, all right, she's trying her best. It's like,
yes.
What is with these people? I know you want them to breastfeed, which is great. Everyone wants to do it.
But there's formula. I call them formula babies. There's formula babies, and they're totally fine.
But they bully you. They make you.
Not everybody can afford a lactation consultant.
A lot of times, you get them for free in the hospital. They come with the hospital.
Yeah, you can get them for free.
They're free.
But then sometimes they can come to your house too later on, and
right. If you need extra help,
I think that's a great
or you go
point,
to the
Roula.
hospital. Yeah, you go to the hospital. I remember 3 weeks old. Alexander's 3 weeks old. I went back to women's, and they had like a class. Like, there was all these women there with their newborns. Like, we're struggling trying to get enough volume. I pumped and I couldn't get enough, and it was so stunning. And everybody had an opinion. My mom is like, well, you need to drink more chicken broth. I'm going to make you some soup. Or, the lady that was helping me with Alexandra was like, well, I saw you put lemon in your soup, and lemon is probably not good. I mean, it's insane.
It is insane.
You have to block out the noise.
Yes. I think the best thing too is I feel like since social media is around us 24/7, especially with us being like in the industry and trying to like post stuff and everything like that, it comes to a point where you have to do, like you said, Roula, whatever is best for you and the baby. Talk to your doctor, try and figure out. Like, I had that debate as well. I was breastfeeding, and then because your hormones also, it is a terrible roller coaster that you finally get off, because I am not a crier.
No man could ever understand this.
No, and I was just crying. And Mark's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. This is awful.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Well, no, because
Yeah.
why am I crying and I don't cry? It's just your hormones are just so crazy, and having that thing like, do you breastfeed? Do you not breastfeed? Are you
Yeah.
able to? Like, there's just so much going on. And then the whole thing of like, well, what diapers are you using? What wipes are you using? Do what works best for you.
But see, the problem with that, Sam, is as you are in it, you feel like you can't trust your own gut because everyone's telling you something else, or you think something else. You know what I mean? Like, I just remember we walked into the house with her, my first child. My mom was here, my mother-in-law was here. They had cleaned the house. It was awesome. We walk in with Alexandra, and she's asleep. And I walk into my bedroom for the first time since having her, and I walked into the closet and I burst into tears. And it almost like felt like I was homesick, but I was in my house with my new baby and my husband and the moms. Why was I homesick? It was just the hormone insanity was just
roller coaster.
And then for my second child, it was worse. I mean, with Alexandra, it faded out. Every child's different. I had a very hard time with my second baby. I did not think I had postpartum depression, but I don't really want to call it depression. It was just something else.
You get medicine for that, or is it just something you have to just work out?
I think you need to talk to somebody, because the doctors are really good about asking you at the appointment, how are you feeling?
Yes.
Do you feel too anxious? Do you feel like you can't take care of yourself? I'll tell you guys, a shower and brushing your teeth is life-changing when you're in the trenches of a newborn. And a lot of moms don't realize they haven't eaten anything. They didn't take a shower. You didn't even brush your teeth. And you're thinking, how did you not brush your teeth? Because you wake up and you think, I'll do it in a second, and then I'll do it in a second, turn into 4 hours.
Happens,
What would you two recommend? What would you recommend for men, or their husbands or spouses?
Listen to your wives. Just
during this time.
I just think if your wife is crying, don't try and fix it. Ask her, how can I help you? And she might say to you, you can't help me. And that's just the answer.
Yeah.
That's just the answer. And just let her have it. Let her have it.
Shame on the dads that don't want to participate and help. I was very, very hands-on. And as somebody that's, you guys, Roula, it's recent for you. Sam, you're right now in it. But as somebody who now has an adult child, I look back and I'm like, God, I'm so glad. I knew how enjoyable. I mean, yes, there's a lot of tired and fatigue and stress and all that, but savor these little moments because they're so wonderful. I'd do anything just to be able to go back.
A lot of times, a lot of dads are working. Like Sam's husband works a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He wants to be. He's a good
My
dad.
biggest thing is, if I can go back to what you said, Eric, what I think worked amazing for Mark and I, my husband, is I hate doing dishes. So he was always in charge of doing dishes, making sure bottles were clean, because you have to sterilize. I mean, that is my life. Every single hour, I feel like I am sterilizing bottles, and I want to scream at the top of my lungs, sterilizing all of those things. So, Mark taking care of the dishes and allowing me a lot of times to just feed Santiago so I can just sit on the sofa and just have those cuddles. That is huge for me. I hate, emptying out the diaper pail, because you'll notice it smells real bad. So I'm like, babe, that's you.
You have that diaper genie thing with
Yes, I do. Thank God. Rula, I think, bought it for me. She's like, you need this?
Yes.
So Rula, I think, bought that for me. But it's just like those little, those two big things right there are I'm like, thank you. Or even just hey, let me hold him. You go shower. Because the shower, for some reason, it just takes it takes the weight off the world. It's just kind of you time. So I think, being on top of dishes, taking care of diapers, and allowing your wife
picking
to
up the
shower is the top 3 in my mind.
Look at that. We learned something today.
Yes.
I hope that. But I hope that mama has a great
Reach out to
time.
us if you need us.
Yes. Our baby podcast, Sam. We're going to do a raw feed of just baby podcast. Tell you where to shop. Shout out to Babies and Kids First. I love them. They know all the things you need, so they help me through all the chaos and the crazy. All right, let's get to what's going on.
All right, it is brought to you by Duncan. Needville is advancing right now. My God, these kids are awesome. They won again. Now they're just one win away from the World Series. A win during the championship on Saturday will secure Needville a spot in the World Series championship game on Sunday. So go Needville. You may have asked yourself, if you ever do any road trips, what is the fastest speed limit in the state of Texas? You guys have any guesses?
85. Isn't it San Antonio? Isn't it over there 80 or 85?
I don't know.
You got it,
80
Eric.
I've seen.
It's 85.
Is it 85?
Yeah, 85 miles an hour. Yep.
Somewhere, I think
It's
Austin or
Texas 130 between 45 near Austin and I-10.
That's where it's off.
It's right in Seguin.
I always wanted to drive it.
85 miles an hour,
So that
and it's a
means-
41-mile stretch of highway.
Does that mean you go 94?
Yeah, it was at 10.
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
You're 9. I never.
Yeah, you wanna go
I feel
95,
like
that's
10's
10
too-
over.
10's too crazy. I got 9. They're going to let me go.
9, yeah. I don't know. If you're zipping by 94 miles an hour, I think you're getting a ticket. even if it's 85.
Probably.
I wouldn't change.
I think those state
I'm not
troopers are
trying
looking
to.
for the guys that are going over 100. You
Yeah.
know, that's who they're really going after. Some
So-
person has like 110 on their car. Like,
I'd
what are you
be a cop.
doing?
I would-
Well, it was 85.
I just pull over people with cool cars so I can look inside and see what it looks like.
Or like that guy on
you're not a
TikTok, or like the guy on TikTok who walks up to people with fancy cars and says, "Hi, what do you do for a
That's what I've been
living?"
doing. Hey, what do you do for a living? Well, you're about to pay a ticket.
Okay, so the city of Houston is starting this mandatory water restriction. It starts on Sunday as we enter stage 2 of the drought contingency plan. So if you're going to water your lawn, it's got to be outside, limited between the hours of 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Residents who violate this order could be punished. First, you get written up, warning. After that, you can get a fine up to $2,000. So take this serious. Because there is, I've noticed just getting
That's a
in
good
the shower.
revenge. Someone could do that. Turn their neighbor that they hate, turn their water on so it sprinkles their house.
No, because
my
then we're
God. And then
damaging. We've got a water
But then they get fined
problem.
$2,000.
So what? I mean, you reckon
They
that...
turn on the neighbor's water and then call the city and say, "This neighbor is watering their lawn."
If you hate them and they're jerks to you.
Yeah, but then everybody else suffers because you don't want to waste the water right now. We are in a drought.
Well, this is a neighbor on neighbor. You hate them, so
Right now, the water flow is like, have you not noticed your shower pressure is a little bit lower?
I live in a high rise. I don't notice it.
I have too, Ryan.
Yeah, my water pressure is like way low.
I thought it was because they cut my water.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's getting new siding and stuff.
It's another
They accidentally
story.
cut her water.
Yeah.
with pipe, or what they
I
cut?
don't know how that even
What do you
happened.
mean? Just because you're in a high rise doesn't mean that they have water. I mean, you have water flow issues too.
I don't know. They use children's tears. That's what they.
This is the guy, Ryan, I don't know what you're saying. This is the guy that during Hurricane Ike was so mad that his DiGiorno pizza didn't cook all the way while the rest of the city didn't have power for 4 weeks.
You were out for 2 weeks.
I was
high
out
rise.
for 2 solid weeks.
He was out for 20 minutes.
And you're out for 20 minutes.
That's when Roula and Tasso spent the night.
Oh, that's when they did it on
Yes.
the couch and
Yeah.
wrecked it.
That's
Oh,
when
yeah.
we did it all over your house.
Speaking of
Every
baby
single
talk,
chair.
isn't that where you consummated?
Every chair, every place,
Every chair.
and the kitchen counter, all while you were sleeping.
On my
You
DiGiorno
never
pizza?
heard us.
Right on my DiGiorno
Yes.
pizza box.
I rubbed that DiGiorno pizza box on my bare chest. All right, coming up next, speaking of food, we're doing Food Wars.
Yes,
Confusing
Food
around. Food Wars, yesterday we were talking about how the number one snack in every state list came out. And for Texas, it was Funyuns, but we didn't really agree with that. I'm not a big fan of making Funyuns. I would not pick that as my number one snack. So we're asking the question, what should be the number one snack? What's your number one snack? We have to pick one to represent our state. What is it? Or just your personal preference. 713-390-KRBE. That's our number for Food Wars next on the Roula and Ryan Show.